So thank you for joining us on the teacher training webinar. We've been running a series of these just to keep, obviously, you guys updated. We've made a few changes for the teacher training short courses. And I know based on the feedback from our previous webinar, a lot of you guys wanted more details about the short courses. So hopefully with this webinar, we'll be able to update you with all the latest information for the short courses and also the changes that we've made as well. Thank you for your patience and your support over the past 2 years. I know it's been a difficult year for everyone, but hopefully 2022 will be a great year and we'll be able to work closer together again and welcome your teachers to study with us. So I'm going to pass over to Jo. She'll be able to go through the programs and details for you. And then at the end of the session, we'll have a question and answer option available as well. Over to you, Jo.
Great, thanks. So thank you for joining. As I said, I'm the Assistant Director of Training here at International House London, and we'd love to see some of you, all of you, studying with us in the future. So I'm going to share my screen and we'll get to the presentation. Okay, so I'd like to tell you a little bit about our short courses that we're running here for professional development for those of you who are already teachers. So we're going to be focusing on continuing professional development rather than the more internationally recognized qualifications such as the CELTA and the Delta, as I imagine that many of you already have an initial teacher training qualification. So the CELTA is not something that you would be interested in doing. However, we do run it. Okay, so to start off, I'd like to tell you a little bit about our school. International House is a very well-respected, a very historical kind of institution for language teaching, English language teaching, and for teacher training. In the picture here, you can see our beautiful building in the centre of London, and our school is actually a charitable trust. So we are a not-for-profit organisation. Whatever sort of money that comes into us is what we then spend on our facilities, our staff, and our partners and so on. So our aim is to promote international understanding through language teaching and learning. And we have a very, as you would imagine in central London, we have a very international flavour and focus to our ethos. We have people who visit us from all over the world to come and study with us, both face-to-face and of course nowadays online as well. Okay, so here you can see our school and the kind of the colour, the vibrancy of what we have here. We aim to create a welcoming environment for everyone who comes to visit us. We have lots of different sort of relaxation spaces that you can enjoy. Has it moved on, Shema?
Yes.
Yes. So we've got lots of areas where we aim to develop and to create a feeling of community and enjoyment and relaxation through learning. We're also uniquely positioned in the centre of London near famous locations, famous tourist destinations such as Theatreland, Covent Garden, and all of the shops and uniqueness that London brings to the world. Okay, so our building and our location is one reason why you might want to consider signing up for one of our courses, particularly face-to-face. But of course, it's not the only reason. We know that you, as you are attending here today, you must be very, very interested in your professional development. I know from myself, from my colleagues, from teachers that I've trained over the years, that teachers are passionate people. We are passionate about learning, we are passionate about our students, and we're passionate about making sure that we're giving our students the best opportunities and the best experiences that we can. So joining one of our short courses can help you in a number of different ways. We aim to help you investigate and expand your routines. For many of us, when we're confronted with a full day's teaching, weeks worth of teaching, a whole semester of teaching again and again and again, we often might find ourselves falling into a bit of a rut, feeling that we're not growing, we're doing the same old things. And maybe they work and maybe they're great, but perhaps we're feeling a little bit frustrated, a little bit limited. So we want to investigate those routines, expand them, and explore and discover new research. International House London sort of prides itself on being at kind of the cutting edge of English language teaching. Our trainers regularly speak at international conferences, but not just speaking at international conferences, we attend international conferences as well. And this is how we keep up to date in order to filter down and explore these things with teachers who come to visit us that perhaps have not been able to attend these conferences or read, perhaps don't have the time to read as widely as they would like. We're very passionate here at LIH London about building communities of practice, making friends, learning together, studying together, having shared experiences, whether it's face-to-face or online. And our courses also aim to help you develop confidence to experiment. Our courses are a time for you to step away from your own environment, go to a new set of a new location perhaps, or have a new set of friends where you can experiment without being under pressure. You can just design things and plan and implement new ideas in a safe space. Okay. So one of the things that when you're thinking about joining one of our courses is perhaps to try and decide what is your priority in terms of your own development? What teaching journey, what teaching discovery are you on? So it could be that it's about grammar. You want to make grammar meaningful and interesting. Your students switch off, they zone out when the rules are being explored. How can we get them to be more interested in what we're doing? It could be about the materials that you're using. Perhaps you feel a little bit trapped within a course book and you want to be able to design fun and creative activities or materials, but you're not sure, you're a bit nervous about it, you worry that perhaps they won't work. You might just be curious, a little bit nosy about what's going on in other places around the world, about what other teachers are doing in their classrooms. It could be about methodology. So as I mentioned before, what's going on? What's new? What are the new buzzwords in teaching English? What are the new approaches that you could look at? Could be just about creating fun, making fun activities. However, we also know that in this day and age, it's not just about fun, it could also be about qualifications. I'm sure you're incredibly well qualified already in your job, but perhaps you would like an additional qualification in the field of specific English language teaching, perhaps from an institution that is based in the UK. Perhaps you feel that that would add an additional sort of credibility to your CV or your resume. You could purely be interested in UK culture. What's it really like? What do we really think about the Queen and Meghan and Harry and Prince Charles, particularly in this year where we've got the Platinum Jubilee, 70 years of the Queen. Or you might have an interest in specializing. Perhaps you've been teaching very, very general sort of English and you would like to go down a business English teaching route, or you would like to specialize in online one-to-one tutoring, that kind of thing. So perhaps just take a moment and have a think about those different options and decide which one or which ones, or maybe it's all of them, are your priorities? Okay, so at IH London, we believe that in two things which underpin the way that we manage and run our short courses. Firstly, that we believe that professional development isn't linear. It's not a step by step. You complete one step and then you have the next step and then you have the next step. It's happening in a cycle, and it's happening all the time in our practice. It's about gathering concrete experience, reflecting, having concepts, experimenting, as I mentioned before. So our courses will explore these four elements and beyond in that experiential learning cycle. We also believe that we learn much more and much more effectively and much more engagingly together rather than learning alone. I know from myself, having done several self-study individual courses over the last couple of years, that I've really missed having the opportunity to discuss what I was studying with other people. And I think that's something that we've all sort of noticed in the last couple of years as well, with working from home, that what we've missed is perhaps the community, the staff room, having the possibility of sharing with our peers and getting feedback on that. Okay, so let's go into more detail about exactly what we offer. So there are sort of five different areas that I'm going to talk about in terms of the professional development courses. So first of all, there we have a set of courses to help you with your own classroom skills development. The practical teacher course, current trends, materials development, and IH mentor. Okay. The practical teacher course is probably our most popular course. It's a 2-week course. So you would come and study with us 2 weeks, either face-to-face or online, and it focuses, exactly as the title suggests, on practical classroom activities. So how to pick up a grammar point and make it more interesting for students. You'll learn things like games, grammar games, vocabulary games. You'd look at, for example, things like phonology, making pronunciation a little bit more fun, more interactive, how to make a reading text less dry, making it more exciting, perhaps using things like drama and songs and music in the classroom. And this would be focused very much on your context as well. We would ask you to consider what you already do, consider what you would like to do, how you would like to make things exciting, and we'd give you opportunities to sort of design activities and test them out with your peers in the classroom, with assistance from a tutor, obviously, and kind of share these ideas with each other. Our trainers, of course, have lots and lots of our practical ideas, but we also want to create the discussion within you and the other members of the class as to what you guys do and what you can share with each other. So practical teacher is very much focused on what's going on in the classroom with our students. And as I said, it's probably our most popular short course. Current trends is also very popular, and this is more focused on the methodology side of things and what's going on, what's new in English language teaching. So what research is happening out there in academia, and how does it impact on our classrooms? So, for example, at the moment, there's a lot of discussion about listening skills, how to help our students really develop their ability to listen effectively and to build their confidence in listening. So we would talk about things like decoding, using authentic material in the classroom. Other current trends might be things like project-based language teaching, which is particularly effective with younger learners or with teenagers. And we would look at the principles that underpin these methodologies and look at examples of how they would be implemented in a classroom situation. So there would still be lots of practical ideas on this course, but we would be investigating thoroughly the methodology behind these practical ideas. So you're not just doing activities, but you understand why these activities are perhaps effective or efficient or are motivating and engaging. All linked, as I mentioned before, to the latest research, to recent books that have been written, to conferences that we have attended, either in person or online, and exploring these with you. So basically we kind of do the research so that you don't have to. You can just come to us and have that experience of finding out kind of from our experience of experimenting with those new ideas. Current Trends is currently on offer as a 1-week course. So it's shorter than the Practical Teacher, but it's kind of a bite-size introduction to what's now, what's happening in 2022 in English language teaching, or just in language teaching, not necessarily focused on English. Okay. Materials development is a new course for this year, and it's about looking at kind of coursebook material, textbook material that you guys are using, and thinking about how that can be brought to life for your students. So very much matching your student group to materials, to activities. I don't know about you, but when I'm teaching and I have a full timetable, I find it quite difficult to be constantly thinking of ways of adapting a course book or a textbook. And often, particularly when I'm tired, I'll just go in and I'll say, right, today we're doing page 42, we're going to start with exercise 1, and it will just literally be through the stages of the lesson. This course, Materials Development, will give you sort of instant ways that even when you're tired, you could take that material and make it more interesting and more motivating for your students. It could be a way also, if you're interested in sort of writing materials in the future, that perhaps it will give you the principles for undertaking that kind of writing material in the future. So it's, yeah, it's usually run by one of our most experienced trainers, who is actually a published author. So he's done a lot of investigation into the principles of materials and how they shape our teaching. That course is face-to-face only, and again, it is a 1-week course. IH Mentor is another new course for this year. In a way, it's not even really a course. It's perhaps our most flexible option. If you cannot commit to a 1-week or a 2-week sort of full-on experience, then IH Mentor might be the course for you. And basically, it's like having your own private trainer for some time. So it's you would book a trainer, and they would help you plan a lesson, look at your materials, help you decide what to use, how to adapt it. Then you would go off and teach the lesson, independent of the trainer. So the trainer would help you beforehand, you would teach the lesson, then you would come back to the trainer, and the trainer would help you reflect on what happened, help you understand what was effective, if something wasn't effective, why wasn't it effective, and then help you design an action plan for the next few weeks or months of your teaching. So it's an incredibly practical experience. The trainer, if you wanted, if it was online, if you wanted, the trainer could join and watch the class, and you would have that second pair of eyes, like a peer observation. We believe a lot at IH London in peer observations, but we all know that that's in an ideal world, whereas in the real world, there's not a lot of time to explore that or experiment with that. Our peers don't have enough time. So it could be a way of getting one of our team to help you and guide you with your lesson planning. So those are the courses kind of focused on classroom skills development. We also have a couple of courses that are targeted towards teaching younger learners. The first one on the screen that you can see is a Saturday series that we offer, which is focused on teaching young learners, both face-to-face or online at different times of the year. And it would be 2 or 4 Saturdays consecutively for 2.5 hours each Saturday. And this is for those of you that are thinking of moving into teaching younger learners. Perhaps you don't have very much experience of teaching this age group because you've been teaching teenagers or you've been teaching adults, and you just want to understand some of the sort of the principles or the main routines, games, activities that you can play with your younger learners that still encourage learning. So that's a Saturday series, and like the IH Mentor, it's a little bit more flexible. You don't have to commit to a full 2 weeks, 1 week of full-time study. It can be just bite-sized pieces. Then we have our Teaching Young Learners course. And this is face-to-face only, and this is a commitment for a week. So you would come here to our school in IH London for 5 days, Monday to Friday, and find out more about teaching young learners, similar to the Saturday series, but in a more intensive fashion. And you'd actually be I don't know, sort of participating fully in those activities and sharing a lot of the ideas that you already have, but also experiencing the practice and the ideas that our trainers have developed over the years. Okay. Some of you may want to specialize in different directions. Perhaps you're thinking of going off and doing a little bit of freelance work, a little bit of private tutoring. And so we can also offer you a couple of business English courses. So we have Focus on Teaching Business English, which is kind of an introductory course to the principles of business English and how to manage business and company clients, how to manage their expectations, how to do a thorough needs analysis, how to diagnose, and so on. So that might be considered a kind of beginner's course in teaching business English. For any of you that have more experience of teaching business English already, you might want to consider the Certificate in International Business English Teaching, or Cert IBET for short. We offer this both face-to-face or online at different points in the year. And it is a 2-week intensive course, 6 hours per day, in which you look at all of the recent methodology about teaching business English and how to address vocabulary, how to apply the lexical approach, how to use task-based learning in business English teaching, how to deal with one-to-one clients, how to manage a group, how to manage different people, different business clients in different in the same group. And this leads to a qualification called the Cert IBET. So you would study for us for 2 weeks, and then you would be required to write an assignment of approximately 4,000 words. And you have 12 weeks to write this assignment. You would then send that to us. We would send it off to the awarding body to be moderated and marked, and then you get a certificate, assuming you pass. The assignment is quite in depth. It involves doing a needs analysis on a set of students. It involves course design. It involves materials design, an awareness of aims and outcomes. And all of this needs to be underpinned by your background reading. It's a step up. This qualification, Cert IBET, is a step up from the CELTA. The CELTA is a level 5 qualification, which is equivalent to the first year of university. The Cert IBET is a level 6 qualification, which means it is equivalent to kind of the 3rd year of university in terms of the amount of knowledge and depth and research that you have to go into when writing your 4,000 word assignment. Okay, so if you're interested in business English, those two might be things that you want to take into consideration. We are delighted at International House London to have the internationally renowned writer Adrian Underhill as not only one of our trustees, but also as one of our trainers delivering special courses on pronunciation and performance. Some of you may know Adrian Underhill. He wrote the book Sound Foundations, which investigates the different features of phonology that take place in English language speaking, and he sort of organized and designed the phonemic charts that we use certainly use in our classrooms, and he has designed a special course for us that he delivers for us here at IH London, both face-to-face and or online, focusing on pronunciation and performance. So creating activities and environments where the students can get very, very excited and very interested and very motivated to work on their pronunciation. I know from my own language learning experience when I was a child and when I was a teenager at primary and secondary school, pronunciation was the thing that I was the most terrified of. The thought of pronouncing things in French or German in front of all of my teenage friends would break me out in a cold sweat and probably make me not want to attend the next class. However, Adrian Underhill has a series of interesting collaborative games and activities to overcome that kind of teenage fear, perhaps, of pronouncing funny sounds in another language. So if you're interested in creating that safe environment for your students to practice using English and practice pronouncing English, then Adrian Underhill's course will be for you. It's usually a 1-week course, and it's this year it's scheduled for August, face-to-face. And lastly, on the slide, you can see that there is also a course called Focus on Teaching One-to-One. This is an online course only, and it's a Saturday course, so it would be 4 Saturdays for 2.5 hours each. And it will help you understand the principles behind teaching one-to-one and how one-to-one teaching is different from a group teaching situation. So those of you that are thinking of doing private tutoring, perhaps on top of the day job or as a sideline, or as something that you want to do during the summer, during your summer recess, then Focus on Teaching One-to-One will give you some tips, some suggestions, ways of organizing a course, of presenting yourself professionally, and so on. Okay. Of course, there may be things that you're interested that go beyond the practicalities of just teaching. And there are sort of 3 areas on offer here that we have. We have the Business Cultural Trainers Certificate, which is a 3-day intensive course. It's online only at the moment. And it's for those of you that are sort of in a business environment, or perhaps you're in academic management or in HR. And it's about helping with intercultural communication and breaking down barriers between different departments, different people with different backgrounds. So very much focused on developing those kind of perhaps soft skills, but with principles underpinning them. For those of you that are already in academic management or are hoping to step up or step across, let's not say that academic managers are higher than teachers. You might be interested in academic manager development course, which is a 1-week course where you'll look at kind of different frameworks for management, different communication skills and styles that are involved in management, looking at things like change management, about trying to implement new systems and how that can be approached, the kind of the problems that might occur, and looking at ways to solve those issues as well. That's a 1-week course, and it's face-to-face only in London. So those 2 kind of might seem a little bit heavy, perhaps. For those of you that would like a lighter experience, there is Life in Britain, which is also one of our most popular courses. And again, it's that idea of coming here, because it's face-to-face only, and really learning about British people, British culture, what's really going on in this country, talking about different aspects like the political system, talking about the monarchy, inevitably talking about class, talking about recreation, and you're sort of ideally placed to do this course when you're here, because we're in the capital. So you'll be able to investigate exactly what goes on and how life in Britain and how life in London really works there. So that's a very popular course. And again, it's a 1-week course. And we often tie it in with the social program as well that we have on offer here. So there will be lots of opportunities for you to go on trips, to visit different areas of London or the country alongside the course. And then lastly, certainly I know that in recent years, when we do courses, if we're going to commit time, often we want to get something concrete out of them, not just ideas, but perhaps also a qualification. And here are the professional development qualifications that are on offer here. So I mentioned before about the Business Cultural Trainers Certificate, the BCTC. So you would get from this course an International House certificate stating that you took that course and the things that were covered on that course. I've already talked a little bit about the Cert IBET course, the Certificate in International Business English Teaching, which, as I mentioned before, is a level 6 qualification, so equivalent to the 3rd year of an undergraduate program. And the Cert IBET is moderated by an organisation called Language Cert. So they accredit the course, they issue the certificate. So it's an external body that's moderating the qualification. Then we also have the Certificate for Practicing Teachers option, Cert PT for short. This is again a level 6 qualification, and this is moderated by Trinity College. Okay, and this is on offer as an add-on, an online add-on to 2 courses that I mentioned previously: Practical Teacher and Materials Development. It's not possible to book the certificate for practicing teachers without one of these courses. So you need to complete one of the courses, practical teacher or materials development, first, as this will give you the tools, the input, the ideas, the activities that you can then use to achieve the certificate. Yeah. If you wanted to do this, you would book these as a package. So you would, for example, book practical teacher with the certificate. You would attend the 2 weeks of practical teacher, and then either here or online. And then we would give you access to our online Moodle course for Certificate for Practicing Teachers, which will explain and support the assignments that you need to complete. The assignments need to be completed within sort of 2 months of finishing your initial teacher training course, for example, practical teacher. But of course, you don't need to stay in London to do that. You would go back home, go back to your school, go back to your teaching, and work on those assignments alongside your teaching. The Certificate for Practicing Teachers is an incredibly practical course, focusing on what you're doing in the classroom and designing activities, materials for your students. So, which you would then use in your classroom and reflect on. So it's not abstract, it's very, very concrete. And it ties in very nicely with your day job. So it doesn't feel too much like additional work, because every bit of work that you do for the Cert PT is then usable in the classroom. Okay. As part of this package, you would get 3 tutorials with an IH tutor to keep you on track, so you can discuss what you're designing, you can discuss the assignments, you can get the support that you need. And this qualification, again, is a level 6 qualification, so again, equivalent to the 3rd year of an undergraduate degree. And it's, as I said before, it's moderated and organised and assessed by Trinity College, London. Okay, so that's on offer this year, and it's a really exciting qualification for those of you that really, really want to enhance not just your teaching practice, but also your CV, because you get a certificate at the end. So all of these courses, I mean, that was a bit of a whistle-stop tour of what's on offer this year. But it's a love. All of them are very designed to be practical, to be easily implementable into your classroom practice, and to be about sharing and I like to say stealing from other people in the group. So they are always very, very participatory and discursive. There is no lecturing that happens at IH London. It's all about discussion. There'll be lots and lots of trainer demos and reflection. You will get to be a student in some situations, so you can develop your student persona if you want. It's incredibly collaborative, creative environment. It's about applying things, perhaps developing projects, experimenting and playing in a very, very safe space with no pressure, and very much geared towards planning for your own context. Okay. And as I said before, we've designed these courses to be as flexible as possible. So the lengths can be as much or as little as you want. 10 hours, 20 hours, 10 hours a week, 20 hours a week, 30 hours a week, 10 hours across a month, 20 hours across a month, whatever you want, we basically have a course for you. If after this presentation you find that you have, we'll go to Q&A in a moment. But if I'm not able to answer all of the questions, or if you think that you have additional questions in the upcoming months about something that you've heard here or about something that you've seen on the website, then do get in touch with us, info@ihlondon.com. We work Monday to Friday, and we're always very, very happy to answer your questions. And we have lots of more detailed information about each course on our website, ihlondon.com. Okay, so I'll stop sharing now and we'll go to questions.
Okay, so thanks for the information, Jo. We've got a few questions coming regarding the practical teacher and certificate. The Trinity certificate course. So is it compulsory to be an English teacher, or can they be teacher in any subject?
It is geared towards English teaching, but you don't have to. One of the beauties of the Cert PT is that you can actually write the assignments in your own language. However, the material that you're using in the classes has to be geared towards English language teaching. So that probably suggests that you do need to be an English language teacher in order to do that qualification.
Okay. The second question was, we've got a few people who are asking about the CELTA courses online, how they're the part-time online courses, how they're run. So if you can just briefly touch upon that very briefly.
Yeah, that's fine. CELTA part-time online. We have two choices, two options for you. We're trying to be as flexible as possible. The CELTA courses, the part-time CELTAs are always 12 weeks long. The evening course, we have an evening course and a daytime course. The evening course is 2 evenings per week and every Saturday morning. And you have to attend at those specific times on Zoom to achieve the course requirements. The second option, the daytime course, you attend 2 mornings per week, but no additional Saturdays. The rest of the study is done through a Moodle platform, which is a learning platform where you complete tasks every week, and tutors will comment, support, give guidance on those tasks. So the first one, the evening course, is entirely synchronous. There are fixed times that you have to attend. The daytime course, the second one, is part synchronous, 2 mornings a week you have to attend, but the rest can be done in your own time to your own schedule. Okay.
Thank you. So back to the short courses. How likely are the face-to-face courses to run this summer?
Very likely.
With the ease of restrictions as well, we are getting more inquiries and bookings. So we are hopeful that we'll be able to run all the courses. Yeah. And then somebody's asking, what about January? So if they have a group of teachers coming off season outside of the set course dates, can we create a course just for them?
Yes, and that happens quite often. If you have a sort of guaranteed number of teachers who would come, then we're quite happy to run any of the courses on the list. Or, I mean, we have in the past made sort of semi-bespoke programs up for groups. So if there's something in particular that you wanted us to focus on, we could probably manage that. And absolutely off-season is no problem.
Perfect. And also, is there an opportunity for in-country training as well? So if we're able to send one of our trainers to teach one of our courses abroad.
Yeah, I don't imagine that would be a problem, assuming that, you know, travel is okay and so on. If you have an idea about that, then do just write to us at info.tt or contact one of the sales team who can liaise with you and organise that. We've definitely done that in the past.
Yeah. Also with obviously Erasmus now no longer being available, or very minimal funding being available for the UK, are we able to send our teachers abroad to teach an Erasmus group, for example, group of teachers, one of our courses in their countries?
Okay, we would probably have to check what the regulations are for each country. When it would really depend. I mean, we're not sure at this stage whether Erasmus funding could be put towards that. I suspect not if we've withdrawn, but we would have to look into that. So it's definitely a question we would investigate and try and get back and give a positive answer.
Perfect. And then there's one last question about the distance delta. What's the nature and amount of interaction with the tutors? For example, will teachers be able to have meetings with them and one-to-one meetings with the trainers?
Okay, so there's a lot of emailing, sort of email-based tutoring that goes on, and you get a kind of what's called a personal tutor that you sort of share with 5-6 others, perhaps. As for kind of meetings on Zoom, probably quite rare. I don't think that happens very regularly, just because of the workload that's involved.
Perfect. So I think we've answered all the questions. Again, thank you for your patience and thanks for joining us, guys. We will send you a email with the recording of this webinar. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact your market managers, or you can contact sales@ihlondon.com. As I mentioned earlier on, and as Jo's just briefly, gone through, we have changed a few of the courses and the dates and what's available. So we will be sending out a new dates and fees leaflet for you, just so you have everything in one email and it's a lot easier. Otherwise, please feel free to go on the website and you can download the updated dates and fees leaflet for our qualified teacher courses there. Yeah, thank you for your time, and hopefully 2022 will be a great year for us, and we look forward to welcoming your teachers to study with us. Take care, guys. Bye.
Nice to meet you all. Nice to see you. Bye.